Well, my name is Souter. I'm Managing Director of Souter PR. I suppose I'm at this point because I have a passion for storytelling, passion for news. My background was journalism actually before I moved into PR, which was the classic route in. And 11 years ago, decided to set up our own PR agency, having worked in lots of other agencies. So came with the agency background, but also with the passion for words. So what we try and do is put together programmes for companies which to tell their story, so that they can reach all the publics around their business, but in a really compelling way. We've spent a lot of time with media because that's our technical skill set, if you like. That's how you tell a story to a journalist in order to get to the coverage, which then endorses what the client's trying to do. A lot of time there, but increasingly with lots of other publics as well. Well, I think there's two things really. One is the opportunity that the internet provides to produce PR material, and secondly the fact that we can all be publishers, that everyone can actually be a great PR person all by themselves. So PR has gone from a sort of slightly one of the service areas into marketeers into something actually far more central and important, because the internet provides lots of opportunity to tell your story, both in terms of local communities and of course globally. So what are you going to do about that? So there's a challenge there. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to say this here, and it's in the public domain. So there are also reputational opportunities for PR professionals to say this is actually how you would handle what is now a global presence, whether you're small or large or wherever you happen to be. Yeah, there is still a call for press releases, even though actually the head of Coca-Cola, the head marketing communications, is trying to get rid of the press release completely. But that's because they've taken publishing on, as you'd expect Coca-Cola to do, and made it, an absolute their forte. So they reckon they can get to audience without using media. But print media is still there. As long as they're producing daily and regional newspapers, PRs will still be selling stories to journalists, and there is a place for print. It is fighting its way against internet, and of course there are internet versions of the classic printed media. So the Guardian, for example, I think online has more readers than it does its actual print version, but the print version is still the flagship and the kind of the brand, the bearer for the brand. So there is a place for print, and as I say, as long as there are journalists still writing for printed newspapers, will be there. Right. Well, it's driven by the internet quite a lot, because we're now allowed to do much more peer-to-peer recommendation than ever before. And in peer-to-peer recommendation is innate experience. So it's people who have that experience then share it. And that's the other thing about the internet, you can share things very widely. So for traditional advertising, that's a bit of a problem, because it's no longer just show and tell and you'll take my word for it. It's like, well, actually I want that verified and I want that endorsed in some way. So advertisers these days are marrying the branding with a story underneath. So you get Jaguar, I can't remember this exact example, but Jaguar working with Shazam, for example, which is an iPhone platform to allow you to engage with the Jaguars, the experience of the Jaguar. It's not just telling about the brand, they're actually giving you an experience alongside it, and you press a red button and you're engaged. So they are trying to engage with storytelling behind traditional advertising. But because of that, we won't take an advert's word for it anymore. So we have an example for solicitors. We're running a blog for them called I Want the Dog for their family law team. And we are now promoting the I Want the Dog blog on their advertising channels, if you see what I mean, which is a switch, but is a far more credible way of promoting the family team. Social media is a platform for putting your stories on, or your imagery, or your video, actually, because it's not all about video. The internet is supremely visual, and people forget about those things. So they are channels for content, but they're also distribution points. So we're saying to clients, Twitter, for example, use it to build a community around yourselves, say things that are interesting and non-salesy, but direct people to your content, which is sitting on your website, which is your centre of gravity, your publishing hub, if you like. So the social media is a tool to promote your content, and not the other way around. People think content marketing is rooted in social media, but actually you could run a content program without any social media platforms. I think that's something that people need to understand. So we are advising people to use social media if it fits, if your customers are there, and if they're not there, neither do you need to be. So it's actually taking a review on that. Most campaigns do have a social media element, because it is easy to do from a desk. All the fantastic networking opportunities and communities you can build around yourself quickly, cheaply, and free. And the other thing about social media is that people are using it to determine if you are worth doing business with. So they will go and have a look at your Twitter feed. They will go and have a look at how prominent you are, how refreshed your copy is on your website before they even pick up the phone to you. So social media as a badge of honour, if you like, is really important.